Hey everyone, thank you for joining me again on FreshSuperCool.com Marketing Sun Fridays, where we interview growth hacking, marketing strategies, and all that wonderful make money stuff. Today with me is actually a very special guest. His name's Neil Patel. I don't know if you guys know Neil Patel. He needs no introduction. He's like a marketing guru. He knows tons about marketing. I actually got started out doing a lot of marketing stuff because of what he taught, and I read his blog pretty religiously, like a Bible. So yeah, Neil, I want you to introduce yourself. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I usually create companies, typically products or services for marketers. That's my expertise or forte more so. And my first company was an internet marketing agency. It was a service provider. We used to help startups as well as like the Fortune 500 with their online marketing. Second company was called Crazy Egg, still own it. It's a software company in which it helps you understand the usability of your site and figure out is it usable, where people are clicking, how you can adjust, your design, the elements to make your site more usable and convert better from a visual aspect, right? Using heat maps, hot spots where they click, cold spots where they don't. And my third company and current company is called Metrics, and that is a customer analytics platform. So what it pretty much helps you do, the simplistic way, Google Analytics tells you, what happened on your site. Kiss Metrics tells you who did it. So in other words, we'll track people, we'll show the lifetime value of your customers, the churn, what's causing the churn, your overall conversion rate, your average selling price, all that kind of stuff. So we're pretty much there to help you improve the metrics that affect your bottom line.
I see. Great stuff. So I guess, a lot of people that are, the way I got interested in you originally was your story. The story about how you got started with email marketing. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so when I had an agency, the way I actually got some of my first and early clients was I would email like these investors. So logically, if you think about it, an investor invests in a company to make money, right?
Right.
So if the investor is a smart investor, because usually most of them are pretty logical. If they give you $1, they want $2 in return, right? Or at least $1 and like 10 cents, right? Because there's cost in giving money.
Yeah.
So what I started thinking about, like, hey, when I email companies and I try to tell them what's best for them, they don't really listen. Why? Because like companies have attitudes, they always know what's best, so forth and so on. So I would go find companies who just got funded and got funded a lot of money. Now there's this service called Crunchbase, right? A site that tells you got funded, but at that time there wasn't.
Right.
And I would actually just like read TechCrunch, Giga, Mashable, look who's funded. And then I would go look at their investors and then like, oh, okay, this site is let's say invested by Michael Moritz. So then I'll Google Michael Moritz, find out his email, because it's pretty easy to find it, because investors, right, usually list out their email so that way they can get more investment opportunities.
Sure.
And then I'd email, let's say, the investor, like a Michael Moritz, and be like, hey, I just realized you invested in blah, blah, blah. I want to let you know they're screwing up. Here's all the things that they're doing wrong. I would email them, but when I reach out to them, they don't really respond. They don't try to improve it.
Sure.
Right? And here's the reasons if they fix it, how much more traffic they can get or whatever it may be. So it's like I was just breaking down what they could be doing better. And as an investor, when you're sitting like, wait, they got money, they got $10 million. Why aren't they fixing this crap, right? Because it doesn't cost $10 million to fix this stuff. So the investor would just be like, CC them on the email and the CEO and someone high up, because he only deals with the CEO. He doesn't deal with someone lower in that company, right? He's dealing with co-founders or CEOs or executives. So he would do that, and boom, like it was a great avenue to get business. I would do that all day long.
Wow. But I think a lot of people like reading this, watching your video, will be wondering, well, cold emails, how do you get them to respond? Because that's an art by itself, right?
You don't have to get them to respond when you're emailing an investor and you're telling them what to fix. The investor is going to make sure someone responds for you. It's in the investor's interest, right? Remember, going back to the logic, investor puts in $1, he wants $2 back. It's as simple as that. So if you tell the investor how he can make more money from his investment, and it sounds logical, don't you think he's going to actually like try to get them to respond back to you? Especially if you gave the information away for free. It's not like he's going to be like, no, don't pay these guys. Don't listen to them. He'll at least pass it over to them because he's like, hey, you should at least take a look at this. Up to you what you want to do with it, but take a look.
Yeah. Wow, that's very innovative. And you know, that's actually what got me hooked onto your blog, believe it or not. I was like, oh, this guy's actually pretty pretty witty, man. It's very interesting. So like,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you don't have money, you got to figure out how to make it, right? You don't really have too many options.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely an interesting story. So like, how did you get started in entrepreneurship? Like, I remember reading your blog about you did a talk, and that's how it kind of spawned your stuff, right?
Kind of. So the way I got into entrepreneurship was I wanted a better life. I grew up in North Orange County. I
Uh-huh.
don't know, where are you from?
Well, I'm from New York, but I lived in San Jose. But I did live in Glendale for a while, so I kind of know what North Orange County looks like.
Got it. So it's kind of like Glendale, right? It's
Yeah.
not the part by the water, by the beach. You know what I mean, right? It's
Right.
away from. And I wanted a better life. And I first started being an entrepreneur for the wrong reasons, but the reason was I wanted to be rich.
Right.
So I started just creating a lot of different things like websites, whatever it may be, and just trying to figure out how it ended up working. A lot of my first website failed, but I gave a speech, and I gave a speech in a college class because when my first website failed, the reason it failed is no one came to the site. I thought if you put a website up, someone's gonna end up going to it and making a ton of money. It doesn't happen that way. You gotta like convince people to go to your site.
Yeah.
I was naive, and I'm like, if I put up a site, I'm gonna get a million people coming to it. So after it failed, I learned how to market my own site because I didn't really have a ton of money. I paid a few people to help me out, whatever I had left, and like they failed and they just took my money. So I learned how to do it myself. I got good rankings on Google and I started getting good traffic. And I also gave a speech at a college class, like, talking about how search engines work because I was in a speech class and it was like, give a speech on anything you want. Let's do how search engines work because I just did that, right? Like I was trying to figure out how to like rank higher and I learned about their algorithms and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And some dude in the class hired me and he's like, hey, do you want $3,500 a month? You know, come and work for the company I work for. They're looking for someone like you part-time, like 10 hours a month, $3,500. I'm like, sold, right? Where did I sign up? I got them good results. I made them, I think, like, I don't know what the normal was. It was in the $1 million, like 8 figures.
Right.
So they were happy and they gave me more customers from there because the owner of the company, his son owned an ad agency and then he hooked me up with Countrywide at that time, which is now owned by Bank of America, Blue Cross, right, which is like Blue Shield, same company, and a few other big companies.
Wow. That's an interesting story. I mean, just a little thing, just a little talk just spawned a whole career of starting entrepreneurship. That's amazing. So,
I call it luck.
right place at the right time.
As Guy Kawasaki said, he'd rather invest in luck than over smart entrepreneurs, right? Like, luck is luck. Luck is what caused a lot of these companies to be worth $1 billion, right? Don't get me wrong, people actually did it, but a lot of it's like right timing, right place, and you can't control a lot of elements.
So would you, I mean, I know you invest too. Would you invest on luck?
I would invest on luck, but it's just a saying, right? You can't actually like pick what's lucky. You hope you get lucky, but you invest in smart people. And luck a lot of times is what makes those smart people really successful. Because smart people will make money over time. They'll fail, they'll learn from their mistakes, eventually they'll make money.
Right.
But sometimes they strike it rich. Like, you have a company that makes $5 million a year in revenue and it sells for $1 billion, I count that as luck.
Right.
Yes, growth potential maybe. They're like, even Tumblr, I don't know what the revenue is, like 15 million. Sure, they have a lot of potential to grow, but if you value it purely on math, they are not worth $1 billion.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, could be worth $1 billion to Yahoo, but pure math-wise, they are not worth $1 billion.
Well, could Yahoo know something? I guess they have like a backfill inventory that these guys could fill and make their revenue up or something like that.
Totally agree, but you never buy on based on what you can do. You buy based on the valuation of the company. Your growth that you add to it should be your gravy, right? It's your profit.
Exactly. Yeah, I kind of see because I know you do real estate investing. And that's kind of how I see real estate too. Just, I don't pay for potential. I pay for what is.
Yeah, you never pay for potential.
Yeah.
The only people who pay for potential are the ones who either lose a shitload of money or they get lucky. It's one or the other. And I don't count that I'm going to be lucky. So I invest on what I'm going to make on the buy. If I can make money on the buy, I do it. If I don't make money on the buy, I don't do it.
Oh,
so that's simple as that.
Well, like, let me go for a little tangent. So tell me about what's investment stuff. Like, I mean, are your investments doing better than your stuff? I mean, what's
No,
your investing strategy?
so I do a lot more real estate these days. I stopped investing in the internet other than my own stuff
Okay,
because I have a higher investing in my own internet stuff than other people's.
sure.
So I've just been sticking with my own stuff. And what I quickly ended up learning or realizing is I can make quite a bit more money if I just take my cash and just dump it into new projects or expand the business. So like me and my co-founder, we bought Hello Bar, through Crazy Egg, right? So we use our own cash to buy another software as a service company to extend our product offering. So for me, I stopped trying to invest in other entrepreneurs, and now I like the philosophy of just like invest in myself, and that's it.
Oh, that is a very, very, very interesting, non-mainstream thinking. I like that. That's really cool. Tell us, about your, I guess, marketing stuff. Like I think one of probably the most asked question that I'm sure you get personally yourself is, how do you get that initial traction? Like, what have you done? What have you done to get the initial spark, right? How do you get that initial momentum going?
Sure, press is a good way. There's a company called PR Serve that's a performance-based press company.
Sure.
So they really pay for performance, which is actually really good.
Yeah.
Then there's another thing that we do is guest posting. So if you're a software service company in the marketing space, you find all the marketing blogs out there and you offer guest posts. Because if you do enough guest posts, like a few a week, what we've learned is you generate a lot of signups. A good example of this is Buffer, bufferapp.com.
Yeah.
And they get a lot of their signups from guest posting. So they'll do, Leo, the founder, will do guest posts all over the web that says the top 10 social media tools. And he'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and like number 2 will be Buffer. So he's putting his own app in there, and it's causing a lot of signups because he's doing this on popular sites. It just generates a shitload of signups.